Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and I'm back here to talk to you about neckbeards. I think this is just going to be a story this time, because the story I've got is pretty long. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, by the way. Hope your sons aren't too neckbeardy. Neckbeards are those fine gentlemen who like to move all the Bibles to the fiction section. They like to dress to the nines and practice martial arts. And they usually hit on Milady, but not today because this story is about a gay neckbeard. Let's get started with neckbeard stories from Reddit. This story comes to us from Reddit Neckbeard Stories. The Gay Diva Neckbeard. Hello everyone. Currently I'm obsessed with your stories and totally enjoy hearing about your encounters with those very special state of mind people. Shout out to Fatal Walter. Thank you guys very much for sharing your stories. They are educating and entertaining. Many times I thought about stuff like, man, this would be such a great plot for a movie, let's call Hollywood. So after a lot of input, I'm finally ready to share the story about my ex, the gay diva version of a neckbeard. I was 18 and finally came out as a gay man, which is a whole story for itself, and I felt like it was the time to become a happier person, to start dating and seek the luck that everyone else seemed to have. I downloaded a gay dating app, set up a rather cringy profile, and got into the game. For those who are familiar with such gay dating apps, you probably know what I'm talking about. But for a young gay, straight out of the closet boy, it's super scary and quite overwhelming, especially when you grow up in rural Germany. So I got a message from this guy. Let's refer to him as S. Out of the many scary profiles, his seemed to be the most normal. He was my age and had some gaming and anime references on his About You sector of the profile. His pictures were kind of cute, but his big hazel eyes were the thing that first got my attention. S was rather short, 5'5", but that wasn't a problem for me. He had a different hair color in every picture, facial piercings, and a short beard on his neck and chin. All in all, I wasn't put off, and I assumed that's a good thing, due to being grossed out and shocked by a lot of people who messaged me. We talked a lot about gaming and anime in the beginning, because that's what I knew he liked, and I am a little geeky myself. I really enjoyed to talk to him, because I finally had someone to talk to. I never experienced any kind of romantic relationship before, so I thought, that's it. I'm in love. And I haven't even met him. I know, dumb, but I didn't know any better. We started to do very long phone calls. We talked for hours and hours, and I was so happy for this connection we had. S talked a lot about his shitty ex and about his best friend who betrayed him by staying friends with this ex. I know, big red flag, but I was dumb, young, and desperate. He also told me that he dropped out of school after 8th grade and is working 2 times a week as a mini-job, also called €450 jobs, at this very cheap clothing store every German makes jokes about. But I didn't judge him as I was starting to fall in love. We agreed on a date and I pushed all my negative thoughts away. In a way, I knew it was rushed and forced, that I didn't want him, I just wanted happiness. But back in the days, I was good at gaslighting myself. And the date was okay. I really enjoyed it, and at the end he asked to kiss me. I was afraid, but did it anyways. And after that, he said, we're in a relationship now. It felt so forced upon me because S never asked me if I want this. Don't get me wrong, I wanted a relationship with him, it was just way too fast for me. Maybe that's why I never spoke up, as I gaslighted myself again. I had to go look up if you can gaslight yourself. And yes, you can. Self-gaslighting commonly involves suppressing and invalidating your own thoughts and emotions. And I've read ahead in this story. You'd have to do a whole lot of that to put up with this guy. S told me that he wanted to see me as often as possible. He lived 2 hours away and didn't own a car, so it was up to me to drive to his place every single time he wanted to see me. I was working as a mechanic at that time and I was physically exhausted when I got home, so I wasn't able to drive to his place every day. This was a big issue and the cause of a lot of arguments, which often ended in me driving to his place. One time I fell asleep while driving. Fortunately, I didn't hurt myself or others. This was the point for me to speak up. S and I argued a lot, and we finally came to the conclusion to move together, as this would be easier for us. I had problems with my family at that time, so I thought it might also be good for me to move out and start my own life. God, even a good relationship can fall apart when you move in with someone. It's such a risk. But you know, the author was 18, so I can't say too much. I did a lot of stupid shit too. First we had to find an apartment, but that was very difficult as S was way too picky. He didn't like most of the apartments we visited, and the ones he liked were too expensive for me to pay. Yes, I had to pay the rent, as he had to quit his job to move to the city I work in. He didn't even look for apartments, but would constantly make me feel bad, because it took too long for me to find something. When I asked why he won't help me, he made those weird compliments like, "You're so much better at searching, I trust you with this, etc." At this time I felt like I had 3 jobs, being a mechanic, working in real estate, and being a clown for a brat. As I was about to end the relationship, I got an offer for a beautiful historical apartment. Big rooms, not too expensive, bright with very high ceilings, in the middle of the city center. I was so happy for us, as I thought everything will be good from now on. I was so naive. I told S that he would need a job to help me out, as I was not willing to cover all finances while he's being at home playing video games. He told me that he would look for a job when his current job is done, and he was talking about taking care of our apartment and making it beautiful. I kinda agreed because we didn't have a lot of furniture at first. Everything we got were gifts and old stuff from our parents, and I wanted a nice home as well. So he would buy furniture, decoration, a TV, etc. I had to pay for everything as he had no money to begin with. On top of that, he would neither cook nor clean, so I had to take care of that as well. He also got me into buying plants. And not just any plants, he wanted the most exquisite and rare plants he could find. Although I told him I'm bad at taking care of plants, S assured me that he would take care of them, but when he forgot to water the €250 bonsai tree, he would accuse me for letting it die. I told him that he should take care of the plants, and he said I was dumb for paying €250 for such a fragile plant. He blamed me and the plant. Classic. Ah, damn it, not the bonsai tree. This guy doesn't deserve enlightenment. He would also spend my money for the newest games and merch, figurines, anime shirts, and so on. That stuff can be very expensive, and soon I was at the limit. As I spent all my savings for our life, I finally got him into the idea of getting a job. He told me again that I'm much better at searching for stuff online, so I had to take care of that as well. I found him a job at a fashion boutique, but he got fired quickly, as there was always money missing when he was there. He told me that his supervisor took the money and accused him, and I believed that. Well, well. Somehow I managed to get him a job as a clerk at a bank, and he enjoyed working there. But more than that, he enjoyed talking about working there. He stuck up his nose very much and referred to my mechanic job being second class, even though I made a lot more money than he did, and he just started working there. And I know it sounds crazy for a guy with a bad reputation, without any degree, even being a school dropout, to work at a bank. And believe me, I'm still surprised, and it's a mystery to me why they took him. For this new job, he needed to get rid of his piercings, and he had to get his hair back in its natural color. This was a big issue for him, but after a lot of complaining and acting like a diva, he finally accepted to do that. His new bank job was in the next big city, and he constantly complained about taking the train to get to work every day. He was so unhappy that he had to wake up 1.5 hours early to go to work, and made this very clear to me by not talking for days, etc. S came up with the idea of us moving to the city he works in, so it would be easier for him to get work. I was skeptical, but he convinced me. I have a car, and it wouldn't be so bad to drive to work every day for me. He made these weird compliments again, stuff like, "You're much stronger than I am. You are used to driving a lot. I'm so proud of you that you do this for me. You're such a good person." So as before, I had to look for a new apartment in a city where good apartments are very hard to find and very expensive. It was just impossible to fulfill his standards, even with both of our salaries. So this was a very long process of him constantly being annoyed with his situation and being angry with me for not being able to find a suitable apartment. It was just awful. At that time, I got a new coworker, and we got along very well. We became friends soon, but S was very jealous and would not allow me to meet him outside of work. It took so much convincing, and in the end it only worked out because S kind of got along with my coworker's girlfriend. Took so much convincing? What the hell right does he have to tell you who you can see anyway? And I know looking for work sucks more than working, but I never knew it was an option to just tell your partner to look for you. But not just that, he would also not allow me to meet up with my friends I had beforehand. S was very clear about how I should spend my time, with him and only with him. And in the rare occasions I was allowed to meet up with friends and family, he always wanted to come with me. No one liked him, and I always had to make excuses for his diva behavior. When he found out that my best friend does not like him that much, he tried to force me to block her. I didn't, and we had a big argument again. He was just happy when I do everything the way he wants it. Even his friends sometimes asked me if I'm okay because they knew about his irrational behavior. He must have been looking through my phone because somehow he knew about this. He was so upset with his friends and accused them of being illoyal. I always told them I am happy with him because I didn't want S to be upset. He distanced himself from his friends and me from my friends, and soon it was just the two of us. Illoyal appears to be a German word meaning exactly what it sounds like. After a few months of isolation, I got invited to my grandma's birthday. I was so happy because I missed my family and looked forward to meeting them. My grandma is an open-minded old lady, but back in the days the whole gay thing was a bit much for her. On top of that, she did not like S. That's why she just invited me without him. S was furious. He said that my family is homophobic, and I am as well if I go to the party. He even wanted my sisters, A and L, to boycott our grandmother's birthday as a statement. My oldest sister, L, is queer herself and had some issues with her family about her sexuality, so she quickly joined us on our little boycott. He made a lot of mean jokes about our family, and me and my sister kind of felt bad. After that, he disliked my whole family except L. He directed most of his anger towards A, who had to struggle at that time because she hit pregnant while she was at university. S loved to point out that her pregnancy is God's way of punishment because she didn't take his side. This guy is the absolute stereotype of a drama queen gay guy, and they do exist, yes. Please don't put up with someone who acts like this. After a while, I managed to find a suitable apartment in outskirts of the city he worked in. My mom insisted that he had to pay for the rent this time because she knew that I was financially struggling and that he earns enough money because he loved to talk about his first-class job. They had many arguments, but in the end, he agreed on us dividing the rent in half. We moved there, and I hope that this will make him happy. I realized at that time that I don't want to be a mechanic for the rest of my life, and that I want to go to university to become a teacher. S wasn't happy about that because he relied on my income to live his best life. It would have been very difficult for us if I stopped working, but it would have worked out if he wouldn't buy all the new consoles and merch. I paid for everything for 2 years now, and I thought maybe he would help me out this time. But no, he didn't allow that. He would even make me feel bad for trying to achieve my dreams because it would ruin his. So I kept on being a mechanic. And being a mechanic comes with going on construction work. Most of the time it was just for a day, but sometimes I had to spend a couple days abroad to build some machinery. Once I had to go to France for a month. For most of my coworkers, this was sad because they got separated from their family and loved ones, but for me this separation felt more like a vacation, even though I had to work most of the time. We had some free days, and I enjoyed spending time with my coworker friend I mentioned before. For S, that month was horrible, as he was all on his own without a personal cook, maid, ATM, clown, and so on. He called every night and wanted to stay on the phone until morning. He was crying every time. One day I was so exhausted, so I hung up because I wanted to sleep. He was so furious and made up stories about me and my coworker. He claimed that I cheated on him. Why else would I not want to have S on the phone that night? He even got my coworker's girlfriend into believing it, so when we got home, she broke up with him. That rumor even made it to work. Coworkers made fun of us and we had to speak to the boss about what happened. I felt so miserable and I was so sorry for him. S fucked up his life just because he was friends with me. Now that is a painful situation. I feel sorry for this guy, both of them. Just not the Neckbeard. Okay, let's try to finish this. S was so happy when I came back and told me that he needs me, that he can't live without me anymore, and that this month showed him how much he really cares. He admitted that he always had this plan of finding someone who would save him and take care of him, but now I am much more than his savior. I am his man. Yes, he proposed. I never said yes, but I think it didn't matter to him. Christmas came along and he had very specific ideas of what I should buy for him as a present. S had a lot of things on his list and every single item was expensive. When he asked me about what I want, I couldn't think about anything. For me, Christmas is about the small things that show how much you know each other, surprise gifts and thoughts. So I said he should think of something. First he was okay with that, but after a while he made comments like, "You make it so hard for me by not saying what you want. Why can't I have a normal person as a boyfriend? You know I want to give you something special, but you never say what you like." And that might be true, as my whole life was circling around him. I wasn't a person anymore. In the end, I bought him a new game in the collector's edition, his favorite perfume, and I made a box with letters, why I love him. I thought maybe this box would help him when I'm on construction, and I put a lot of work and love into making it. He liked the first 2 presents, but he hated the box. He got me yet another video game that he ended up playing more than I did. 2 miserable months later, Sister A got her baby girl, and S did not allow me to visit them. He again showed his dislike towards A and her infant. One day after work I visited them, and when I told S, he became so jealous. S told me that he feels like this baby is more important to me than he is, and that he feels very underappreciated. He compared himself to a newborn baby by saying he has done way more for me than her, and that he doesn't understand why I love her. I just didn't know what to say. This whole situation felt so surreal to me. I began to realize how unhappy I am and how unhealthy our relationship is. I wanted to give him the chance to change things, but every time I mentioned things I was unhappy about, he called me a brat, that I only care for myself, and that I should break up when I am oh so unhappy. I tried many times to talk to him, but it always ended like that. He told me that I am nothing without him and that I need him, but I was just so tired. After I reconnected with my old best friend, yes, the one I abandoned because of him, I regained a little personality. Because at that time I was just an emotionless shell. Just the husk of the person I used to be. It felt so good to talk to her about everything, and she gave me the strength to face him once again. He once more told me that I should break up when I am so unhappy, but he also mentioned that I am not brave enough to do so. And guess what? I finally ended things after years of humiliation. 6 years after, and I am a different person now. I am living again, quit my job, started to visit university, and just being happy. I currently talk to a friend who is also friends with him, and she told me that he also quit his job, is unemployed now, moved back to his parents, and is waiting for another knight in shiny armor to save him. Jesus Christ, what a story. This author has the patience of a saint. I don't think there was a single thing mentioned that wasn't just manipulation. And then he forces him to give up on his dreams. I mean, it's not really giving up if you're still a teenager, but it was a pretty powerful scene, right? I also really hate the kind of person where if you don't like them personally, they decide you're being homophobic or whatever they happen to be. It's not helpful. Anyway, I'm going to thank the author, especially because he shouted out my channel. Be sure to let me know what you think about it in the comments, but this is a long video for me, so let's finish up here. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have anything to say, let me hear it in the comments section. Subscribe if you want more. And big thanks to my patrons who support me directly. Have a great day, everyone, and don't boycott your grandma's birthday.